Last week, I had to go to the hospital in an ambulance in the middle of the night because I was walking my dog and I got stretched, I got turned around so fast when he tried to go after another dog behind me on the long leash. I didn't see the dog. I usually hold the leash tight. I wasn't paying attention. Next thing you know, I got spun. It stretched my ribs and my oblique and my back really bad, right? But when I got to the hospital, after sitting in ER for 5 hours, which is no fun time, I couldn't even really walk to the bathroom. So I would have to have the guy came out one time and helped me, wheeled me over there, and then I was able to barely go, and then all that, and then, but eventually they brought me back there, right? And then the doctor, ER doctor, comes out, who, the great man, I don't know his name, I don't remember, but he said, "You might have a clot." I said, "I don't have a clot, man. I'm the healthiest guy I know. I have a YouTube channel. I teach people how to eat better and to exercise and to stay healthy." And then he said, "Well, yeah, but something's up." And I said, "Okay." So they took me to the back. They put me on that CT scan. I couldn't lay down because it hurt so bad with my ribs. But then I thought about it like, well, if I have a clot, I better figure out how to lay down right now, because otherwise, if I don't lay down, they can't test it to see what I have. And sure enough, after I did it, I made it through, I come back, he comes in and says, "You have 2 pulmonary embolisms." That means you have 2 clots in your right lungs. I'm like, right lung. I'm like, what? Or in the blood vessels going to your lungs. That can't be possible. I don't eat anything to cause me to clog up, right? But they said, no, it's not always from your food. A lot of times it's from like a long car trip, a plane ride, a plane flight, a flight somewhere, or having an injury or surgery, But I still don't know 100%, right? But I did all that. I had a long trip where I sat in my car for 10 hours for 2 days, right? Not moving my legs, right? I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't know that you need to always move those legs. I knew you had to, because your blood doesn't flow if you don't pump the muscles. It doesn't flow up, from the bottom of the legs. But I didn't know like it was a thing like that. So anyway, I'm in the hospital. It's horrible, right? I don't know what's happening. I'm scared. My life is flashing before my eyes because I'm like, what is going on? And then they find another one in my left leg. So they found 3 clots now, right? Because it starts off in your left leg. It starts off in your legs a lot of times, and that's called a DVT. And then it moves up to through your other body, and then hopefully it doesn't cause any strokes or heart attacks or anything, right? And I believe that my diet did play a big role in kind of saving my life, because if I didn't get in there, the ER, they said, "You are so lucky that your dog hurt you." Because what happened was I was walking the dog, and I had this long bungee leash, right? And there's a dog over here in this fence area, right, that comes out, and my dog is a big German Shepherd. He's like 70 pounds, German Shepherd Lab. And that dog wasn't there. So I was like, oh, cool. So I just kept walking. But I like to leave him on a longer leash so that way he can go and explore a little bit while I'm walking. But by the time I realized that dog came running out, my dog was shooting across the street behind me in this long, stretchy leash. And I'm holding on, and I get spun, and it just twists my whole area right here, all of it. And then, so I was like, that's why I got hurt, right? So anyways, when I'm in the hospital, right, they find that the one thing I'm upset about in Renown and Reno, thank you for saving my life, but the ultrasound guy I'm so upset with, there was one of them that did a great job doing the chest and everything, but the other one, I told him I had a bad knee, I had a Baker's cyst, I've been trying to heal all summer, be careful, and he just started grinding on the back and then blew my knee up to, basically it was bigger than a softball. And I couldn't even bend it. I couldn't put pressure on it. So now I'm sitting there with rib pain. I was getting up and down. My knees were fine. I was at work for 2 days as a teacher, no problem. And then this guy starts grinding on my back of my knee. So now I can't stand on my leg. I'm sitting in this bed, right, that alarms go off if you try to get out. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And I couldn't get out anyway because I couldn't walk, right? So anyway, I was in the ICU. I've never been in the hospital like that before. I was in the ICU. Then I went to the ER for I think a day, and then they put me to the ICU for a couple of days, right? And then they put me in another place, right, for another day, right, or day and a half before they tested me, and then they released me home, right? I almost didn't make this video. I almost wasn't going to make any more videos if I wasn't here anymore, right? But I was like, I got to tell people about this because this is a thing. It's a big thing. And it happens a lot of times when people are older. Like I'm 54. They were saying, you're young, you're in great shape. They were like, what are you doing in here? I can't believe it. But I'm like, I don't know what's happening, right? I do eat only organic food. My mom brought me food. That was nice of her. She brought me food every meal. So I didn't have to eat any of their food because the hospital food is not the greatest, right? I don't eat anything with pesticides on it. I eat only organic because I lost my brother and sister. My brother 12 years ago or 14 years ago, and I vowed to never eat anything that wasn't organic after that. I know a lot of people think, no way, that's crazy. That's my student's age, right? I've been eating. I was talking to one of my students. He says, man, you've been eating that way as long as I've been alive. And I'm saying, yeah, it's pretty crazy, huh? So anyway, my point is that, I almost didn't make this video, but then I was thinking, man, what about people, imagine if you're eating fast food all the time and something like this happens. Are you going to make it? Did my diet save me? Did my dog save me? Because as mad as I was at my dog, I was mad at my dog because I was in a lot of pain. But, and then the poor dog, he's hard to handle. My neighbor, thank you, Robert, man, you're an angel, dude. Love you, man. He came over twice a day, threw the ball with him, and fed my dog. But my dog was in here by himself for 5 days with nobody. Just like I was at the hospital. That poor dog he must have been freaking out. He must have been traumatized. Like, where is my dad? I see him every single day, right? First thing I thought, too, is that how could this happen to me? I feel like a hypocrite trying to teach people how to live longer. Something that I didn't understand before, I did have some signs. I had some symptoms of stuff, right? I thought it was from dehydration because I was working so hard to get the weight off because I did a video I was trying to get into my pants that I couldn't fit because I gained like 20 pounds since I had surgery in January on umbilical hernia. And then I did pretty good keeping the weight off through my diet. But then in April, I remember I started hanging out with my friends a little bit too much and started eating more than I should in the wrong time windows. And I gained like 20 pounds. And so then I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm in the summer break now in June. I went on a long trip to California, 5 hours each way. I didn't know that could be a problem either. But then, I'm like, I got to get in shape. There's no way I'm going to fit in my pants by the time I go back in August, right? So, but I did have a knee problem. My knee was hurting because, like I said, I had a Baker cyst. So I was doing rehab on that. I was doing a lot of upper body workouts and I was shedding the weight off. And I did videos on it. You can see it on my channel about how I shed that weight off. But then I got down. Like now I'm at 166. So I'm doing pretty good. I was at 162 when I was. So I only have 4 pounds left to lose. And then I'm back where I was, and my pants fit no problem. Right now they're fit. They fit. I can button them and everything, but they're still a little tight, right? But I'm not going to diet right now because I'm just trying to. Right now I have to take some pills now. I've never taken pills before, but these pills are blood thinners. Okay, the reason why is because when you have clots, if you don't take and then say like some people have to go for surgeries for the clots because they're really big. Mine weren't as big. So they said I can just take these pills. And so, but the pills, what they do is they keep your body from forming new clots. And so then therefore your body can get rid of the other ones. So, and I've been noticing it's been working. And it's been a week now, right? A little over a week. And I feel a lot better about what I'm going through now. But I didn't understand, like, even though you think you're healthy, there's a lot of things involved in living a long life and, maintaining your body, especially in this world we live in. There's a lot of things we don't understand, right? Like you can sit for a while and develop clots. So I wanted to do this video because, I was experiencing things like I was unusually tired, before, I remember I went to the doctor like a week before, and they said, "Yeah, you're dehydrated." I was going to the sauna though. I was walking the dog. It was 100 degrees outside, so I was thinking, "Yeah, well, I shouldn't be doing that. I should be drinking more water." I couldn't drink enough water. I did feel a little twinge right here on my chest, I felt like somebody pulling a hair, right? And 20 years ago, when I reversed some of my things I had wrong, I used to have that, and the doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong. And then what happened was I started drinking the smoothie recipe. I have the recipe on this channel, and then next thing you know, 2 weeks later, it went away. I'm not saying that will happen to you. I'm not trying to, but I'm saying that smoothie is something special. I was sitting longer than usual. Like I said, I had surgery in January, so for 3 months I was not moving very much because they had to cut open my stomach for umbilical hernia. That was no fun. I thought that was the hardest thing I ever had to go through until I just went through this, right? But I don't remember having shortness of breath. But I remember that when I had my ribs. So when my dog twisted me, maybe he kicked it in. Maybe he caused this thing to move or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But then, and when you get this, you might be coughing up some blood because the system, when you're taking them pills, if you have it in your lungs, then you might cough up some blood sometimes, which is like little pieces, because it was stuck in there and it's trying to clean itself out, which is a good thing, right? So, and they said, by the way, that I might have this gone in 3 weeks if I just keep following the plan. And then after a few months, if they scan me and say it's gone, and what happens is then they say, all right, I might not have to take those pills anymore, right? Or they might say you might need to, but I'm going to try not to. I don't want to take any pills. I never have. I always try to just eat healthy, Right now I'm going through rehab to get my knee back together because the MRI tech, or not MRI, the ultrasound guy was really, how mean. I mean, he doesn't understand. He doesn't even know what he did to me. He just made my knee mess up. Really, I never had my knee blow up so bad before and hurt so bad. I wasn't even feeling my ribs when my knee was hurting so bad. So I'm sitting in the hospital with the rib and the knee pain, and thinking about the freaking clots, right? So, I don't know. I don't know what your symptoms would be, okay? But I wish I had understood this so I can pay attention a little bit better, and maybe I would have avoided this, right? But either way, you live and you learn. I'm here. I'm grateful. But I want to show you guys now because that's what this channel is about. That's the whole reason I'm doing it. I want to help people so maybe you guys don't have to go through, this. You don't have to go through this stuff. Okay. So here's what I came up with. I was seeing the physical therapist for my knee, and I said, "Wait a minute, you guys, what happens?" Like, because they say it's in the legs, and you usually can tell. And so I was like, "Well, but you guys have to have some training on that." He goes, "Yeah, oh yeah, we do, right?" And so what happens is basically, what is it called? Well, first of all, what it is the thing called the DVT, right? It forms a blood clot, right? That forms it deep in your vein, right? And usually in the leg, right? And then, kind of like blockage from a river. Like if you have something in the river blocking and then it slows down the flow, right? Well, what happens though is a piece of that blockage breaks off and then shoots down other streams, right? And then that slows down those streams or gets caught, right? And that would be kind of like what happened. So it starts in my leg and then it goes into the other streams. I think they said one was in the bottom and one was the top of the lung and cutting off the flow. And then so the blood part happens is because now you're not getting the flow, so you're not getting the same blood flow going to the certain area, so you might have damage, which will cause bleeding, right? And all this stuff could be deadly, right? It could break off, it could stop, it could get in your brain, it could get in your heart, all that, right? It's called pulmonary embolism, right? Very scary, okay? So then they use the blood thinners, like I said, that gets it, so now your blood's going to be able to or it's not going to form the clots apparently anymore, right? And then it's going to allow your body to kind of clean them out. And I'm noticing that. I feel my leg a little bit here, like it feels like it's doing something. And then, but they said that the main thing is I was out of trouble. The main trouble I would have been in was last Sunday when they let me out of the hospital. They wouldn't have let me out if they didn't think that I was fine. I was going to be okay, right? So let me see here. So then, warning signs, you want to know about, right? New swelling in one leg, unusual calf or thigh pain, tenderness, warmth, redness or discoloration, okay? Possible, pulmonary embolism signs are new unexplained shortness of breath, chest pains, especially with breathing, and unexplained rapid heartbeat, coughing up blood, lightheadedness or fainting. And you got to get to the doctor fast if that happens, you guys, because you could be done. I work out, my legs get sore, my calves hurt sometimes. So I'm not saying panic every time something hurts, but the lesson for me is to notice when something feels different from my normal, There's a thing called the Wells criteria, and that's how the PTs and stuff determine whether you're at risk for embolism or clot. The DVT was the clot in the leg, and then the embolism is what was in my pulmonary, in my lung. My lungs, one lung, right, or actually in the veins, going to it, right. So they will check. They'll notice your heart rate might change, right. They'll ask you if you had immobilization or recent surgery, right? If you have previous DVT or PE or pulmonary embolism, right? Coughing up blood, or whether PE appears more likely than another explanation. So the point is that doctors look at the whole picture, not one symptom by itself. Being healthy didn't make me immune, apparently. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making this video, right? And this is one of the biggest messages in the video. I still believe in exercise. I still believe in eating healthier foods. I still believe in strength training. I still believe in everything I've been teaching. But diet and exercise do not make you immune from every medical problem. But the main thing is that of all those things, I don't know what caused it. Maybe none of them did by themselves, right? But what I understand now is that a lot of factors can stack together. Going forward, I'm going to keep exercising. I'm going to keep strength training. The doctor said I could. I'm going to keep eating whole foods. And if I'm sitting all day, I'm going to make sure I'm moving them legs, them calves. This is what I want you guys to make sure to do. You don't want to go through this. But be careful about them long drives. I'll hunker through it. I'll try not to even stop if I can, so I can just get home, Try to stay hydrated, as best you can, right? And to pay attention to one-sided leg symptoms, and just make sure you know the warning signs of the pulmonary embolism. Don't assume that every chest symptom is muscular. And then talk with doctors about clot risks in the future. If I have surgery, another injury, or a long period of reduced mobility, I'm definitely going to be talking to them. Longevity is not just about looking fit. It's not just about losing that weight. It's not just about eating organic food, right? It's not just about how much weight you can lift. Strength matters, nutrition matters, and cardio matters, right? And sleep matters, but mobility, recovery, circulation, medical history, and recognizing warning signs matter also. So I thought I understood health pretty well. But what I learned is that there's another part of health that I wasn't paying enough attention to. So this just happened last week. I'm still recovering right now. It shook me up. It traumatized me mentally. But this channel is supposed to be out learning, health, longevity, and trying to improve. So I want to talk about why it's still fresh. I thought Henry messed me up that day. And he definitely did a number to my ribs, my dog, Henry, right? But that injury is what sent me to the hospital. If I hadn't got in, I don't know when those blood clots would have been discovered. But final message is that, you don't want to live scared either because of this video, and don't assume that every ache and pain means something terrible. But your body, learn the warning signs. Pay attention when something feels different. You can do a lot of things right and still get blindsided. That doesn't mean living healthy doesn't matter, though, you guys. It means that, health is bigger than any one thing. I'm still learning, and if what happened to me can help somebody recognize something sooner, then telling this story was worth it. But imagine if I wasn't eating healthy or exercising, and then this happened. I might have been in big trouble. I might have been the last thing. So anyway, you guys have a good day, and give me a comment and check out the channel if you want. I have workouts and food plans on there, but I kind of feel like a hypocrite right now. So anyway, take care, you guys. Bye. Thanks for watching.